Hey everyone, welcome back to Rebootleggers. This is a comedy podcast where we like to make reboots of just about everything. I'm your host, Scott Owen. And today we are joined in this studio by not one, but two guests who have been on before. Welcome back, Christopher Hastings and Branson Reese.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you.
Chris and Branson graciously accepted after I sent them hundreds of emails asking to come back. We wanted it bad, and it turns out if you ask someone enough, they'll eventually say yes, is what I've learned.
I'm glad that's how you're remembering things and not us being like, we have a book we need to put out. Let's email podcasts that were nice to us before.
Speaking of, you have a book that you're putting out.
Oh my God, thank you so much for bringing that up.
Wow, what a segue.
Thank you. Would you like to tell us about this book?
Absolutely. For this voice right now is Chris Hastings.
This nasalier voice is Branson Reese for the listeners at home.
Oh, man, it feels good to be in an industry like this, comics, podcasts, the indoor arts, and to have a partner who is nasalier than me.
What a treat to be an extreme.
Yeah. Now, when you get to look at both of us,
there's quite a similarity there.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say Branson's way more handsome.
Oh, Chris.
Well, I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad someone did.
Well, it had to be me. All right. So Branson and I, we know each other through the Magnet Theater in New York, doing improv and sketch comedy, and Branson started doing all these comics quite recently, and we decided to do a comic together.
It's very exciting. So is it written by both of you and drawn by Branson, or do you do any of the art, Chris? I know you've dabbled before.
Yeah, we both wrote the whole thing together. We met practically every day for the past few months. Just getting together every day at 10 o'clock, having several coffees and seltzers, and figuring out this book, which I guess I'll tell you about in a second. And then with the art, we're at pretty early stages of the art, and we're kind of figuring out a workflow here. But so far, with our preview pages that you can see on our Kickstarter, again, we'll name it really soon.
Yeah.
I'm getting to one information point at a time here. So I've been doing the layouts, and I help out by drawing the backgrounds because I'm very used to drawing annoyingly complicated backgrounds in perspective. And I think Branson's very comfortable drawing a character on a photo background.
Yeah,
has less practice.
I have no shame or compunction about that. It's there were a few, like, early on, Chris would send me some layouts. He was like, okay, so this is like we're in front of like a long, like, far-reaching government building, or like an ornate like background setting, and I had to call him, like, in tears, being like, how do you I didn't go to art school, how do you do anything?
Yeah, it's like I said this to Branson, like I went to art school, and I took 2 semesters of a perspective drawing for comic books class, and I still find it brain-breakingly impossible. Like, I know just enough tricks to make it look like I know what I'm doing, but, like, it's like one of those things where it's like if you just look at it at a slightly different angle, it all falls apart, and I'm revealed to be a sham.
Look, this page looks great as long as you look at it from right here, 10 feet away, at this exact angle.
And you have to do the magic eye thing with your finger.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're pretty equally, I guess, credited here. Yeah. So then Branson does the final artwork and the color. And I've been doing the lettering so far. But that was, again, we really wanted to get the preview up, and it was kind of just like we were both just kind of jumping in and getting done what we could as fast as we could. And it was like, well, Branson was working out the color. I was like, oh, I'll just go do the lettering, that kind of thing. So we're still kind of figuring it out.
During the breakdown of responsibilities, it did come up that I was like, I like my handwriting, and I think it was a joke, but I did receive a death threat over my handwriting one time. So, like,
and I've never received a death threat over my lettering. So
it's like, there you go. That seems
probably a joke, but let's not tempt it. Now, I guess let's talk about the book itself. What's it about? What's it called? What are we doing here? Where are you taking us?
Oh, baby, I'm glad you asked. It's a little book called Dracula Gate.
Did we nail that?
We'll make it line up in post.
Yeah, you guys nailed it.
Okay, great. Sorry, go ahead, Branson.
Oh no, I basically just wanted to say the title. It's the story of. So the idea is Transylvania. It's not just a region in Romania the way it is in our real world. It's a real country, a real land where like vampires, Frankensteins, werewolves, mummies, they all live there. And there's sort of this like, it's almost like this like Soviet bloc country that like America has never had open diplomatic relationships with. You know, something happens in the beginning. It's in our preview pages. The Dracula's nephew kills like a Canadian like Degrassi star, and it becomes an international incident. And so America starts opening up negotiations with Transylvania, and things they sort of snowball from there.
Now, when you say Canadian Degrassi star, are you referring to Drake and just trying to be coy about it, or is it not Drake?
Branson actually had a different one in mind before we decided just to have a fake name and TV show entirely.
Yeah.
Branson, who was it that you wanted?
Hold on one sec. I think it was Jake Goldsby.
Yeah, that's right.
Who I'm sure it was Jake Goldsby now, but and I will say, if he's listening to this, I do think he probably would have been very cool about it. We just didn't want to like kill him for no reason, you know?
Right.
Send the wrong message.
We're still kind of figuring out like when we want to use a real life thing and when we want to make like a comedy analog.
Right. Yeah,
like for example, we definitely named Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Ooh.
But like, yeah, this TV guy is named like Chaz Okerton.
Yeah.
And the TV show is called like Beavers Crossing or something like that.
Which is like can only mean Degrassi.
Naturally,
it's just
everyone
like
will get
Pizza Hut and Taco Bell aren't like a single person with like feelings and opinions on things. Like it's like fine to dump on them, but
right.
Great point.
Yeah. I didn't want to be rude to this guy who's been nothing but sweet.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to just like be like, all right, like hey buddy, your murder is the inciting incident for our book.
He's like, what did I do?
You down with that?
Yeah.
Matt Damon was, right?
Matt Damon was.
Oh, I guess we could have asked him too, but I think we just decided it was easier to full steam ahead on a fake person.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be quick in this internet age, like.
Yeah. So the book is like basically like I think the idea came from watching some Armando Iannucci political comedy and just being like, oh, this would be great with Dracula.
Nice.
Veep with Dracula.
And you both have some experience working with Dracula before.
Yes, we do.
He seems great.
You know, usually Dracula's pretty cool. Branson, when did you last see Dracula?
Oh God, I think the comic with the butterfly was the last time we interacted.
Okay. Right, that's the one that we have up on the Kickstarter.
I think that was the last. I mean, other than this book now.
That was. I mean, when I was putting together images for the Kickstarter, and I did a Google image search of Branson Reese vampire, like that's the one that came up. It was either that or like a vampire losing his penis for some reason, I imagine.
Yeah, I have like one or two wells I return to.
This isn't barely related, but so Branson, you've got a new comic called Swan Boy, which Dracula has not showed up in yet. Yet.
I do think he exists in that world, though.
He's gotta. That would make. It seems like it's only natural, and I mean, I imagine Swan Boy's neck is of a particularly appetizing prospect to Dracula.
So slender.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
I was actually trying to tell someone about Swan Boy recently, and I was totally like blanking on the name, and I was like, yeah, it's a comic called Goose Fella, and then I was like, wait, no, that's wrong.
Goose Fella.
Goosefellas would have been.
Goosefellas.
Is it too late?
Is it?
There's gonna be like a Scorsese pastiche I do that like will feature Goosefellas.
Oh, great! I'm very excited for that. So this is a book with two authors, and it seems like the biggest challenge for that is deciding whose name gets to go first on the byline. And on this preview, it seems that Branson won that fight. So if you could just walk us through, Branson, how you claimed victory here, that would be. I just think our listeners would love to hear that.
And once you're done, I'll give the real
It's
answer.
of particular interest to certain parties here in Rebootleggers as well.
It was a God, really on the spot to make up a obviously fake story here. I don't. Yeah, I guess
because it was not a discussion.
Yeah, Chris. I guess it was that thing where it's like you give two kids a cookie and you're like, all right, you split in the middle, and like one kid splits, the other kid picks. So like Chris just did it, and I guess he just was. He graciously put me first.
Wow.
There you go.
Is that right, Chris? I like haven't thought about it until this moment.
So here's the first off, it's not always Branson first. that's the main answer. It's like on one graphic my name is first, and on another graphic Branson's is first. But Branson's is first on the book cover mock-up, and that is because his name fit better with the other type to have it on the first line.
That's so good.
There you go.
Yeah. So but it's just kind of going back and forth, and we'll see what happens on the actual book cover, because that's not the final design.
You do like Clue released multiple endings to multiple theaters. Some people get Branson first, some people get Chris first, some people get your names just mashed up into like some sort of Lovecraftian script.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have an unlimited budget.
Right. I mean, that's that's how Kickstarter works. It's unlimited money. That checks out. Well, this book sounds great. I'm very excited for it. I'm going to back it. Everyone should back it. I don't normally like to should on people, but if you don't, I mean,
it won't exist.
Yeah, for real. So maybe you should just do it. So we like to do reboots on this show. We've talked a little bit before you came on, and we're going to reboot just the Sunday funnies or all the funnies.
Let's get them all in there. Let's get them all.
Let's get them all.
Black and white, color, once a week, once a day. Let's do it.
There's so many funnies.
We're gonna get them all on this,
and they're not all funny either.
It's the thing. It's the thing about funnies. Like, they're not always funny.
You got your Prince Valiants and your Mary Worths.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so where do we want to start? Do you guys have a jumping in point that you'd like to go for with this list of funnies?
Let's see. Let me open up GoComics.com and see. What I think, because that's my source for all the greatest funnies.
Let me open up my my daily newspaper that I get delivered to my door.
I ended up on the denverpost.com/comics because I'm in Denver, and there is a vibrant community of commenters on every strip that was actually like kind of heartwarming to read.
Oh yeah, I bet.
These people get into it. A lot of Prince Valiant speculation.
Are they all like 100?
Yes, there are people commenting on being retired and wishing that they weren't retired and stuff like that, and commenting.
Oh yeah, that's like Pluggers is like very big with the retired community.
There is a lot of theory and speculation on the Prince Valiant strip, which is fun to read. Speculating as to where Prince Valiant might have sex next was a thread that I read. Yeah.
That's cool.
Some very good fan theories. There's a lot of funnies on these lists that I do not remember at all existing. Like Barney Google.
Chris,
I remember Barney.
I typed in
Barney Google.
I typed in Go Funnies, and I'm on a Twitter account called Golfaholics now.
This episode just became about something completely different. The biggest pivot.
I'm watching somebody hit 2 golf balls at once, and I will say it rules.
Can you just like send me some links?
Yeah, I'm sending you this right now.
Very good. This one is in the early on the list, and it's one that I think is fairly popular. Beetle Bailey. Why don't we start with Beetle Bailey?
All right, Beetle Bailey.
So what do we know about Beetle? Is he an army man?
He's an army man. He lives on the base. He's very lazy. He's got a Sarge. Sarge gets mad at him. There's a general with his hot secretary that he lusts for. I remember someone telling me that there is a new character introduced into Beetle Bailey every year.
Oh.
But I don't know if that's still true. It might be.
I don't know how it could sustain, because it's like 400 years old. Like, how could there's just too many years have gone by.
Yes, Beetle Bailey himself is long dead.
I know Sarge has like a small dog who has the same personality as him.
Oh yeah, He's got a real tyrant of a dog.
There's Zero, who's like who's too dumb to be in the military. He shouldn't be allowed to be in the military.
He's like the Gomer Pyle of Beetle Bailey.
Yeah. I know he has like an Italian friend. I'm looking at the characters.
Is that legal in the Army?
To have an Italian friend?
Oh, no, that is like a non-canon.
So wait, is Beetle the janitor?
Beetle Bailey is a rather lazy private in the U.S. Army, according to comicvine.com.
Okay. So what do we like about Beetle? We one of a big thing about reboots is getting rid of things that are bad and sometimes introducing things that are bad, but we want to focus on keeping the things we like about Beetle. So what do we want to change about him, I guess, for this reboot? Because it's got to be different yet the same.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about Beetle is like they seem to be engaged in this like forever war that is not ever really named or specified.
Mm-hmm.
They started the war on terror much earlier than real life.
Yeah, because it debuted in '56. I don't know if it's like the Korean War.
And
So
even their current uniforms reflect that as well.
Yeah, they are wearing very old-timey uniforms. Man,
I guess
Sarge
I
is
would
old.
probably update the war.
Update the war. So now they're always talking about the Middle East and terrorisms and make that the focus. And is Beetle still very lazy in this war on terror?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I think that's crucial.
Got to be lazy.
Yeah, it's like Beetle, did you check for improvised explosives along our route? And then he didn't.
And then he didn't because he got sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then his friends die
And then his friends die.
horribly.
Now here's a tidbit from
Dillard.
comicskingdom.com. Beetle's philosophy is, quote, "Whenever the urge to work comes over me, I lie down until it goes away," unquote.
Oh boy,
Oh.
Beetle. Beetle, you rascal.
Now, here's something that maybe we could inject here. If I didn't know any better, I would say that the Beetle Bailey comic was an attempt to a sinister attempt to discredit the U.S. military.
Whoa. What? That sounds bad. That's very sinister.
This is some spies like us business.
Maybe Beetle Bailey is it's now an adaptation of the FX drama The Americans, where he's not an American and he's pretending.
I was gonna say, it sounds like we need to hire, a Russian bot farm to draw the comic.
Oh, that'd be
So
perfect.
we got Comrade Bailey is now embedded deeply in the U.S.
Comrade
military.
Bailey. That's great.
I like that.
All right, let's go to another one. Do you guys have one that you would like to submit to our reboot farm?
Sure. Let's talk Dilbert.
Hit me
I know
with Dilbert.
that Branson and Scott
Yes.
Adams are longtime friends.
Long time
Yeah,
friends.
you'll never hear what I say about this because I'm blocked. So let's go nuts.
Let's get nuts.
I'll
I'll be sure to tag him in the tweets because he hasn't blocked me yet.
Yeah, why has Scott Adams blocked you, Branson?
The few reasons I was sending him Dilbert fan art for a while there. There was one where Dilbert and Dogbert had switched places, and Dogbert had to put Dilbert to sleep.
Oh my god.
There was one just like naked Dilbert talking about how you only get one chance to fuck Catbert.
Yeah.
That was one I like kept sending him. I was like, hey, this ran in my paper when I was a kid, and there was no follow up. You explain? He like ignored it, and other people started playing along, and I was like, yeah, we had an assembly to talk about the comic. Like, what was going on here? And then I think the one that got me blocked was I sent him a picture of Dilbert pregnant with Scott Adams' head coming out of his birth canal.
Oh god.
And I think that was the last straw.
Yeah.
Which I gotta say, like, in his defense, like, I would have blocked me for doing
he
it.
put
Of
up,
course.
He also put up with that for a lot longer than I think most people would.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it gave me like a respect for him because it just straight up didn't, but he did put up with it for a little bit.
What a guy. So what do we want to do to Dilbert? Do we want to address the fact that somehow all these people independently have the last name? Is his last name Bert?
No, it's just like a suffix to his name.
Right.
There's just like there's Ratbert, there's Catbert, there's Dogbert.
Yeah.
Mombert is his mom's name.
What?
I think that's like a fan. It's clear that I know way more about this than Beetle Bailey. I think it's just like a fan thing that fans were like, oh, we call her Mom Bert.
That makes
I don't
sense.
think it has like a name.
I read a thing where years ago, Scott Adams like went incognito as like a special presenter to some, I don't know, corporate situation as like kind of like a prank. And like it was kind of just like he would just say ridiculous things and I guess see how long people would put up with it. And I remember that his fake name was something, last name Maybear, or spelled Meebert.
Oh.
Wow.
What a guy.
Scott Adams is Meebert.
Meebert.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's like-
so what are we doing to Dilbert? Is he better? Is he worse?
A really easy pick here is to move him to Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he's an engineer of some kind, I think his setting needs to be updated.
Are we gonna make him a tech bro?
That's interesting. I like the idea of him like suddenly finding himself behind the curve, like, you know, like he's still like he's older than everyone else,
Right.
and he's like not like, you know, he thought he was building his career this entire time, and then suddenly he finds that he is like no longer relevant, and that's what he's dealing with now.
Yeah, I would do
Like
a
maybe
Rugrats
seeing-
film grown up with Dilbert. Just suddenly he's the age he would be if you started aging him from the late 80s on.
Dilbert all
Yeah.
grown up.
He has to deal with now that he's the stupid manager.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty
give
good.
him some power, see how he likes it.
So new Dilbert's, is it still about him or is it about the new batch of engineers and then Dilbert is their dumb boss?
Well, I
think
mean,
it's
his point of
about-
view is. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I think we're probably agreeing, right? That it's like we're still keeping Dilbert as the POV character.
Yeah, I want it to be like he still thinks everybody's an idiot, but we see that that's his own flawed perspective
I love
more
it.
and more.
Does his tie still flip up? I think this is the most important thing. Or does
So-
another part of him flip up now?
Do we know the tie code that Scott Adams implemented?
No.
This might be deep in the like Dilbert
Oh, let's
canon.
get deep in the paint.
The thing was Scott Adams said like my fans, my beloved fans, like you've been asking to see, like to know if Dilbert is a virgin or if he's had sex.
I do know this. Continue.
Right? Okay, everyone's like heard of this. Like
Yes.
they won't let him talk about it in the comics, which like I gotta say I agree with the comics there. Like I don't want to hear about it, but the code he had like on his website was if Dilbert's tie ever lays flat, that means that like our boy had sex. And there was one comic like after a date where Dilbert's tie did lay flat.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember.
Damn.
So my dad is an electrical engineer, and he was so into Dilbert. It was a ubiquitous bathroom book in my house.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gotta.
And he had this book that I think was a pun on 7 Habits of Highly Successful People or something. I forget what the actual title was, but it was basically like reading Dilbert with Scott Adams commentary, and he had this whole thing about that. And I remember the specific strip because it's like Dogbert's talking to the girl who Dilbert had sex with, and he's like, Dilbert's really calm now. And then he goes and talks to Dilbert, and he's like, hey, have you found religion? And Dilbert says some joke about religion, but his tie is flat, which means the boy... Thank you. Thank you for that.
Dilbert, an incel no longer.
An incel no longer. So the tie is going to be flat for our whole new show. Or show?
Yeah, I guess-
Strip.
You can't unring that bell.
Yeah, it's a binary situation.
You could do a long arc where it's slowly coming back up and nobody knows why or what to do about it.
Oh,
I like that. I like that. Okay, let's let's talk about Crankshaft.
Okay, great.
Let's talk Crankshaft.
This is
We were all waiting for it. It's finally here. The fans are nuts.
Who is Crankshaft? Is this about a auto mechanic? I'm going just off the title here.
Okay. Well, according to a cursory Google search, the crankshaft, sometimes casually called the crank, is the part of an engine which changes the up and down motion of the pistons into rotation.
Okay, this is a very interesting reboot possibility.
Yeah, I think I've just got information about the actual like part of a machine.
Well, I mean, the comic has to be about that. There's only that seems to be the only. Crankshaft can't mean anything else, right?
Oh, you don't want it to be about the wildly popular bus driver character from Funky Winkerbean?
That's what it is.
It's a spin-off?
It's a spin-off.
Yes, Crankshaft is a spin-off from Funky Winkerbean.
I'm so glad Chris is here.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I will shout out to the comics curmudgeon on this one for basically making all of his readers like follow along with what's going on in Funky Winkerbean and Crankshaft for many years. Yeah, if you guys haven't read the comics curmudgeon, not just you guys, the hosts,
The world.
but the audience, you should please read the comics curmudgeon, especially his thoughts on Crankshaft, because any opinions I have are just going to be ripping him off. But yeah, for some reason, so Funky Winkerbean, famously depressing comic. It's like a punchline is like, well, I still have cancer.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's just like, it's sad. That's all it is. And then Crankshaft is the name of this bus driver who's just a mean old man who for some reason deserved his own comic that does well. I don't know why.
People really relate to the sad, defeated man just trying to get by.
Oh, we're getting back to who the core audience is of newspaper comics.
Oh yeah.
ComicsKingdom.com notes. The strip offers plenty of humor while tackling issues like adult literacy and Alzheimer's. Crankshaft is particularly popular among those older people or those whose parents are beyond retirement age.
Oh my goodness.
Beyond retirement age. Is that a new euphemism for dead?
Do ghosts read Crankshaft?
Maybe the idea is that like Crankshaft like missed his window for retirement and now he just must drive a bus until he dies.
What if Crankshaft is dead and
what if it's a title?
What if the bus goes to heaven?
Yes. Crankshaft should be dead.
What if he is the ferryman on the boat?
Now we're talking. Yes, absolutely. Oh, because you can have all sorts of like fun characters who have just died popping up for a quick conversation then they're out.
To keep reminding everyone who we have lost. We've got Alan Rickman on the bus. We've got David Bowie on the bus. Prince is there. Everybody's crying.
Yeah, people don't get drawn with St. Peter at the pearly gates when they die now. They get an arc in Crankshaft.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's comforting to Crankshaft's readers who are all like a week away from death themselves to know that.
Who knows what old Crankshaft's gonna think of me soon? I'll find out in a week.
That's very good.
May Crankshaft find me worthy to cross the River Thames.
Make sure I die with bus tokens in my pocket, otherwise he won't take me. Okay, so Crankshaft is now the ferryman. I like this. Let's talk. I'm just going down alphabetically. Crankshaft is only 4 away from Dennis the Menace, which I think is we can't talk about comics without talking about Dennis.
Yeah, who would we be?
We would be, I don't even know. So Dennis the Menace is he had a cartoon too, didn't he? Like an animated cartoon?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
And a movie with several movies, but the first movie with Christopher Lloyd.
I only remember Christopher Lloyd as like the burglar who ruins the town.
Yes, and he's like he eats beans real weird out of a can is the thing I remember about him.
Oh yeah. The main thing I remember from that is the like lullaby where she's like winking, blinking, and nod.
That's so weird. I only remember one line from that movie too, and it's Christopher Lloyd saying something along the lines of like, "They don't even lock their doors."
Christopher, thank you for showing up in the studio. I didn't think we could get Christopher
I can't
Lloyd
do
today.
any more than that. We were lucky we got that.
I was talking to Christopher Lloyd,
and I'm Richard Nixon now.
That's very...
Yeah, sorry. No, listen. That the quality of that impression surprised me too.
So, is that... I assume Christopher Lloyd never showed up in the Sunday Funny Dennis the Menace.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, like... everything's fine until one day, like, Dennis comes home and finds that, like, his house has been burglarized and his parents are arguing because they didn't have homeowners insurance.
Does Dennis the Menace take place in the bad timeline from Back to the Future?
Yes.
And Christopher Lloyd, like, that's Doc Brown, who has now been disgraced and committed, and he's just gone nuts.
I think it has to be.
I think it has to be. And so now we have to make a comic strip about that, which I think pretty much just writes itself.
Oh, yeah, they're just...
Okay, what do you guys want to what do you want to do next?
I would love to get into Hagar the Horrible or Hagar the Horrible.
Oh.
We should all get on the same page. Are we saying Hagar or Hagar?
That's the discussion I'm opening to start with.
My head, I always said Hagar, but
it's got the umlaut.
I'm looking at that umlaut and I'm thinking the man's name's Hagar.
The man's name's gotta be Hagar. Now, before, I just want to bring you guys into a prior conversation that I had with Frank where we were talking about what comics we need to hit. And I suggested Hagar. I'm so sorry, Hagar. And Frank's immediate reaction was, oh yeah, that guy fucks. So, what do we do with that?
I mean, if you want me to go down and list every comic character and say whether they fuck or not, that door is open and I'll do it. But I do think Hagar fucks.
Yes,
he's a Viking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a Viking, right?
Yeah, he's a Viking. He has his wife who shows up a lot. I think they have just a healthy sex life.
Yeah.
It's very sex positive,
okay.
Which I'm not.
Yeah, I don't think anything I don't think there's any controversy over that.
I think the world is pretty much agreed. Okay, so what are we doing to Hagar? Vikings aren't really a thing.
Well, there's that Viking show now. I haven't heard much about it.
I've heard it's good? ?
I always wondered if Hagar has ever fought Conan.
Oh, the barbarian, not the O'Brien.
Yeah. I think Hagar would beat Conan O'Brien though. Now that we're talking about it,
probably.
I think Conan would agree. I don't think he stands a chance to Hagar.
Chris, did you have something in mind that you wanted to do with Hagar?
Well, I mean, I think it's you again. It's one of these comic strips where you see everything around the main event, but not you don't actually see the war in Beetle Bailey, and you don't really see Hagar really pillaging. It's always post pillage. Yeah, he's always coming home, or it's I think a pretty common one is he and all these troops are set up ready to go, or there's a conversation. But yeah, I think it would be fun to see what it's like when they actually get what they want, and how
how they
where does Hagar place in his society? Is he
a successful Viking lord? Is he
a lord, or
is he a lord?
Is he?
He seems sort of it seems like the idea of Hagar was there this Viking world, this Viking reality is just we're treating it like Hagar's 9-to-5 job, and then he's a little Fred Flintstone or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And then because you see him at the bar a lot, you see him sitting on an easy chair in his Viking home. I think he's just coded as a mid-century oafish dude who goes to a job he doesn't love.
Right.
I appreciate that you specified it's a Viking home, because there is a fundamental difference between a Viking home and a regular home, and I would if we could just for the people who might not know, Branson, what is the difference between a Viking home and a regular home?
Oh, Vikings live in a Viking home. I'm glad you asked.
Oh, that's it. Okay, that makes sense. So if a Viking came and lived in my house, then my house becomes a Viking home.
That's the Viking principle, yeah.
Once he conquered it, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Do you think that Hagar pays blood tribute in the old ways? Because he's a, and again, I'm going to be leaning on comicskingdom.com a lot this episode. Hagar is a devoted father and reluctant taxpayer.
Oh.
But it is Helga who, quote, wears the skins in the relationship.
Okay.
Oh God. Who does he pay taxes to? So he's not the man in charge, is what that sounds like.
It doesn't seem so.
Interesting. Okay, so now we want to see all of his actual exploits instead of him just afterwards. We want to see the fights that he's in, the people he's killing.
Let's Game of Thrones it.
Let's Game of Thrones it.
Yeah.
We can get that in the Sunday paper, I think. Fun fact, did you guys know that Viking is actually a verb originally?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, one who vikes?
Yeah, they would go out Viking. Viking just means to raid.
Oh.
Just a little fun thing. Okay, I think Game of Thrones Hagar there's a lot there. I'm very excited about this. Branson, what would you, if you got to reboot, what would you want to reboot off this list?
I guess I'd be interested in sorry, hold on, I had it up for a second. What's the one? Sherman's Lagoon.
Oh.
Is he a penguin?
No, Sherman's the shark. He looks a little like Hagar.
Right.
Body type as Hagar.
Yeah, I did not have this in my paper growing up. I don't know.
Oh, this might be like, this is a Washington Post.
Sherman is a
Branson's from Virginia. I'm from West Virginia.
We
totally different states.
Very different.
Different papers. Yeah,
that checks out. So what's Sherman's deal?
Sherman's just a shark. He's sort of an idiot. He has like a turtle friend who's a little bit smarter, a little bit of like a Hobbes energy to the turtle friend, and he has like a hermit crab friend who's like a true dummy.
A true dummy. So Sherman's a mostly dummy.
Sherman's just like naive, but he's like married. He's just like sort of a goof. But the hermit crab is like truly an idiot.
And that's who you're drawn to, or that's just another character?
It's just another character.
Okay. So it's mostly
I love
just
them all equally.
all these children of the sea. So what would you like to see Sherman become? Let's open that door. Where can we take Sherman? I noticed in this strip I'm looking at, Sherman is sitting down, which is, I mean, in itself an amazing feat, given that he's a shark. But also, is it not true that if sharks stop moving, they die?
I have no idea. That sounds that honestly sounds fake to me. That sounds like a thing you're told as a kid that like isn't actually real.
That is true. And you know a lot about sharks from I know that about you from the internet, is that you know a lot about sharks.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that. I've had that muted for so long.
I'm sorry to bring it up, but
no, it
seems natural.
Branson, you weren't even trapped. You brought up the shark.
Yeah,
comment.
You brought the shark. I wasn't going to touch sharks. It was on my list of things not to talk to Branson about was sharks.
Oh God, yeah, I don't even read my own writer. Okay, so the thing is that Sherman is smooth and everyone thinks he's rough, and Sherman valiantly never gives up, even though everyone's telling him he's wrong, and he's a hero for it.
Woo! All right, he played the hit. We can go home.
All right, oh boy.
Maybe. What if Sherman is the only smooth shark in existence?
That would be impossible because the others are also smooth.
Oh, that makes sense.
He's doing it now, folks. He's doing it right now.
He's the only rough shark, and that's why he's allowed to stop moving.
Oh,
he's a rough shark?
Because it turns out that rough sharks can move without dying, can stand still without dying. Stand still? Do fishes stand still?
This is a question.
They float still?
I don't think they can stand. No.
Sidebar. Do fishes stand at all?
No.
There's no legs.
No, only if they're the Darwin bumper sticker on the cars.
If I saw that, I would throw up.
Standing fish.
Yeah, disgusting.
So what are we doing anything to Sherman besides just explaining how he can stand, Frank?
That's all I got.
I just want to see him like eat somebody, I guess.
Yeah, that's what
I never saw in Sherman.
He's a shark. Sharks can't choose to just go on the kelp and seaweed situation. They need meat.
They can't keto.
I'm flipping through the strips here, and it looks like a common recurring gag is that he encounters an actual ferocious shark that he's terrified of.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost as though
he's like
not even
is that his bully?
He doesn't know he's a shark, quote unquote.
Oh, that's fine. You could run with that.
Because was he raised by dolphins now? And he's like, I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
All he wants to do is like hug these Australians, and they keep running.
Just like in Finding Nemo.
Almost. Okay, yeah. So I didn't realize that that was already out there.
Here's a strip where Sherman has an Amazon Echo in the ocean. So I guess Amazon just got to Sherman. Brought to you by Amazon. Okay. Let's do. So I think what we created a shared universe last time both of you were on separately, and I think that's the most interesting thing that we can do with these comics. Before we do that, I think we should talk about one more, and I would like to talk about Dick Tracy, unless somebody's got something else they would like to bring up.
No, let's talk Dick Tracy.
I think Dick is ripe for rebooting. He still has an ongoing regular comic, doesn't he?
Yes.
Which is, who publishes that? Is that Image?
No, I think that's like King Features.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
Hold on, let's see here. Dick Tracy. Let me see. There was don't give me results for the movie.
Yeah, that's all I've been getting.
I've been looking up Dick Tracy comics, and it's like tough to find them that don't even have like just like yellow like age stained pages.
Right?
Like I don't know.
Wow,
Yeah.
IDW announced the continuing series.
IDW.
Oh.
That's right.
Okay.
So Dick Tracy is a spy who wears very bright, attention-grabbing clothing. Not
No, he's a cop.
He's a cop? Well, I don't know
Yeah,
anything
he's
about Dick
he's
Tracy.
a street dick.
Well, I am so sorry, everyone. I thought he was a spy. Only
No.
spies have walkie-talkies on their wrists. So, okay, so he's a... Well, then fine. You guys know more about Dick than I do. What is his deal? He's got a trench coat?
He fights mob crime.
Strictly mob crime.
Yeah, I think he goes after organized crime, right?
He mostly goes after men with like severely disfigured faces.
Oh yeah, they have insane like Batman weird. Well, no, Dick Tracy villain is more iconic in that sense.
Did those disfigured men also commit crimes, or is he just a very prejudiced asshole?
Well, I think that's what in the reboot we explore.
There you go. Yeah.
He's being investigated by internal affairs the whole show.
Like
were these
you had
criminals?
nothing on that guy except he had too many forehead wrinkles.
He like refuses to prosecute criminals that aren't disfigured. Like I don't think he did anything wrong.
Look at him. He's gorgeous.
That beautiful man couldn't have committed a crime. That guy though, his head is square.
Was that Scruff McGruff? It sounded
Yeah,
like showed up.
I was doing Dick Tracy.
I've got a list of Dick Tracy villains here, and some of these names
Hit me.
I can't believe. First we've got Lips Manless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what?
Mm-hmm.
Not man lipless, lips manless.
Lips
He's just
Manless.
like the jowly one, right?
Yeah, we got Little Face Finney.
Yeah, little face.
Has a little face.
We got 88 Keys. Maybe he's missing teeth because of like a piano joke.
And he still has 88 of them, though.
I guess. We got Itchy Oliver. I'm not really sure what his deal is.
I think that's a dog.
There were two. Here we go. In 1946, two consecutive villains were named Shoulders and Gargles.
So, if you
I
guys,
look up gargles.
I would like to let's just take maybe 30 seconds, and can we just maybe spitfire popcorn our best new Dick Tracy villains.
Sure.
Let's just brainstorm some new villains. This is a good starting point. Chris, why don't you start us off?
Okay. No Ears McGee.
That's good. Branson, give me one.
Too many teeth, Tommy.
Great.
I'll do one. Shoelaces Stallone.
Oh,
I like that.
Frank, hit me.
a surprising amount of Dick Tracy villains are just kind of a one-word description.
Mhm.
I think
Okay.
because they're they have the whole noir vibe going.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty feasible that one of these villains would just be named Badface.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
Just bad
There's
face.
one I had forgotten about whose name is just Influence, and he just has like a horrible looking face.
He's not. Is he like a DJ? Like, what is his deal?
It sounds like he's just a mobster with like a really gross face, and his name is Influence.
Influence. That is. He's got to be a DJ though.
There's a large number of villains whose first and last names are combined to make a word. So
Oh.
you've got
Influence has a bad
zygote,
face.
psychotic, Botox.
Mm.
Is zygote like a fetus? Like, what's his deal?
I could not tell you.
Like, how is that? That's a weird villain name. Okay.
There's one named Peanut Butter who appears to just be a child.
Looking at the complete Dick Tracy Volume 10, the daring detective deals with Mr. Bribery and Ugly Christine.
Ugly Christy.
It's not even just she's ugly, I guess. That's the.
Here's one where the dynamic detective stalks Scorpio Diamonds, which is
Oh yeah.
that is better than anything I could have.
Oh, here's a couple: Chewy Lou and Mr. Crime.
Mr. Crime is so good.
Mr. Crime. How is he not the best one?
I like
Yeah,
Mr.
right.
Crime a
Mr.
lot.
Crime has to be the top.
He's got to be. Well, he might be.
Mr.
Yeah,
Crime.
Mr. Crime has to be the top. Flap Top
Here's one from
Junior.
the 70s whose name is just The Pouch.
Oh, that's a kangaroo.
That one sucks. I'm looking at a picture right now. Somebody pouring jewels into his pouch face,
Oh.
Oh,
and he's shouting, "I want to see your capacity."
wow, they
which,
do.
like,
Oh, oh God.
I should be in jail for saying that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here's Brush Spready, whose face is this guy's gross. I cannot imagine this guy existing in the real world. His face looks like toothbrush bristles, but they're all skin colored. So I think he's just got like,
Ugh.
yeah, this is Dick Tracy's
He's
gross.
like a baleen whale.
Yeah, So does Dick Tracy exist in some like horrible like mutant apocalypse world?
Ooh,
Oh.
that's fun.
Is it
Yeah.
a Shallow Hal universe where
He
You
sees
know what I mean?
everyone's inner beauty.
everyone looks like what they are on the inside, just like the Human Hair Bandits, November 1968.
Oh God! Last week we did a Jack Black catalog reboot, and so we've been talking about Shallow Hal quite a bit lately.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That
I noticed that Shallow Hal came up pretty quickly. Usually have to dig a lot longer to find Shallow.
Yeah, we were primed.
Yeah, it's on the brain pan. Okay, let's with the time we have left, I don't want to. I know you guys have your big city New York meetings to get to, so I don't want to keep you for too long. Let's try to combine all of these into a shared universe. Maybe just like very quickly outline a movie, Avengers style. So who have we? Let's just real quick recap who we've rebooted. We got Crankshaft,
Yeah.
Beetle Bailey,
The Crankshaft, the Ferryman of Death.
the Ferryman of Death, Crankshaft, Beetle Bailey, who is now Comrade
Fighting
Bailey.
the War on Terror.
Yeah, fighting the war on terror. Hagar.
A real
Who is
Viking.
engaged in medieval political drama.
So there's gonna be some time travel. It
Yeah.
seems. Sherman, a shark of indeterminate skin quality.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Dick Tracy mutations maybe opens up sort of an Adventure Time like world where
Yes.
this happens in sort of
Yeah.
a post-apocalyptic scenario where you can have different societies. So like you can,
they're all in the same world.
yeah, so you can have like out in the far reaches or whatever, you can have Hagar staking his claim among the people who don't have as much technology, and then like you've got these nuclear monsters rebuilding society of crime in the city, and only one beautiful man, Dick Tracy, can take them down. And when you die in these wars, you meet Crankshaft.
Yeah, I like that.
And we did do Dennis the Menace. Where does Dennis fit in?
The child on the run from these monsters like wormy pear shape.
Wormy pear shape. Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
God.
they're all just like the teenagers from Black Hole, just like grown up.
Oh, nice.
I think maybe Dennis the Menace is like our point of view character. We like follow this kid.
He's our entry point. He's our
He goes from
audience
kingdom
surrogate.
to kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay, and where does Dilbert
does
live in
Dilbert?
this universe?
I guess he can work in Dick Tracy's. Maybe he can be Dick Tracy's gadget guy. Like he can be Dick Tracy's
his Q.
His Q. I went the other way, and I thought maybe he was his Commissioner Gordon, but that's Batman. Dick Tracy would have to be Batman. I like Q better. But is Dilbert good at the gadgets?
No,
Okay.
no, he must not be.
But he thinks he is.
He's just every one of his gadgets is just a different clothing item that flips upwards.
Yeah. Like he was able to like build Dick Tracy his communicator watch, and he's been just riding on that forever. And Dick Tracy's like, I need something else.
What if
It's
it
like,
was Dilbert's dad who made the communicator watch, and so we
Oh.
kind of do like a Rusty Venture situation where he's just riding his dad's coattails.
Uh-huh.
I like Dennis is our point of view character. Branson, where does Dennis go first? How does Dennis recruit this team?
Oh, great question. I think he probably starts with Hagar. I think he goes back in time. And I think as we follow him, we realize we like see the scope of the world a little bit more. But I think he starts sort of like, what's Dennis doing back here in Viking ages or whatever?
And then we reveal it's
Yeah,
actually
that's
the
cool.
same time
Yeah,
as the rest
that's
of
a
the
nice
time.
hook.
That is a nice hook. In this universe, how did Dennis become known as the Menace? This is, I think, an important piece of lore we need to address.
Oh,
Maybe Dennis is responsible for all of it.
Shit.
yeah, that sounds good. Like he's the guy who set off the bomb.
He
that
set
started
off the
everything.
bomb.
This set
And
off
Calvin tried to stop it by peeing on the bomb.
Yeah.
Calvin's like remembered as a hero.
he's on bumper stickers everywhere peeing on a bomb.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so he tried to pee on the bomb, and then when it didn't work, he knelt down and prayed, which are the two iconic images of Calvin.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And neither worked.
Yes, exactly.
Calvin tried everything humanly possible, and now okay, so Dennis goes to Viking time. Why does he team up with Hagar? I'm so sorry, Hagar. What about Dennis attracts Hagar to his cause? I mean, Hagar he's a pillaging and plundering murderer. Maybe he's just with Dennis due to his menace status. That might actually be an easy match.
It might be a thing it's like Hagar is perhaps the first villain that Dennis has to get past, and it like kind of proves what a menace he is.
Yeah.
That he can destroy this Viking.
So Hagar's not on our Avengers.
No, I think we're maybe setting up more of a journey for Dennis here to potentially redeem himself.
Hagar shows up late like the Hulk.
Late like the Hulk. So
like he just shows up like I'm gonna fight too.
Okay, I do
you
like
try a few like Hagar individual movies and they're all sort of bad.
Yeah, so that checks out. Okay, so he defeats Hagar. Maybe he's going to each kingdom. We'll call them. I don't know.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Is he collecting? We need like a MacGuffin he's after. Is he like collecting parts to unmute?
He's collecting
everybody?
souls for Crankshaft's bus.
Oh yes, maybe Crankshaft is his. Okay, yes, I like that a lot. So maybe he has to kill like the how many guys we have, like the 5 or 6 kingdom lords or something for Crankshaft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Crankshaft can like go meet God and ask him to fix the world, but he has to have a full bus first.
Souls are gasoline, and Crankshaft can go and pick up Calvin and bring him back.
Oh, they're trying to get Calvin back. Okay, so after he defeats Hagar, who does he go for? Who's level 2? Who's our second robot master?
We can go from medieval and just go the full opposite and do like Dilbert's high tech world.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But Dilbert lives in Dick Tracy world, right?
Yes.
Oh, right.
In the Dick Kingdom. Nah. In this world, does he have to defeat Dick Tracy, or does he team up with Dick Tracy to defeat Mr. Crime?
They've got to fight Grossface.
I think he teams up with Dick Tracy. That makes more sense. I mean, it's like Hagar makes sense as a villain,
right?
Like, yeah, which is why we went that way. But like,
is Grossface a real one, Frank?
The fact that you can't tell, I think, answers it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, do we need to? What does he do anything significant with Dick besides killing Grossface?
I think after taking care of the issues in Dick Tracy's world, like he can be the companion to take along someplace else.
Branson is our resident Dilbert expert. What would happen when Dennis shows up in Dilbert's lab? Walk me through that scene.
Okay, so I tell you, first of all, like right away, the pointy-haired boss is going to like cause trouble for him. He's going to introduce red tape or paperwork they're going to have to fill out. So they're going to have to get around that. This guy's going to be like a low-level villain for them to have to fight, but he is going to be like a problem for them.
Be there. Okay.
And I think they're going to have to team up with Alice and Wally and yes, even Asok the intern. And then, probably what's going to ultimately happen is it's going to come down to like, you're going to realize the pointy-haired boss was no problem at all. And it was actually Catbert, the most evil character in that world. It was like calling the shots.
Yeah. Catbert is most evil.
He sits on the keyboard and he's just the worst. So all of that is just in Dilbert's gadget lab.
Yes.
Oh, man, that's a rough lab.
That's a whole episode.
That's like an arc right there.
It's a whole arc. That's Frank said episode.
I did say episode. That's my bad.
Is this a show or this is an ongoing comic we're doing?
This is real life.
Oh, this is actually happening.
This is
street theater.
I guess I'll let the storytellers figure that out. like the people documenting this. I'm just saying what would actually happen.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe Dennis helps Dick get the gadget made that can defeat. What's his name? Mr. Gross?
Catbert?
Oh, Catbert.
Catbert. Catbert here.
Well, so defeating Catbert,
a.k.a. Furface.
I think defeating Catbert gets them the gadget, which then lets Dick defeat his villain, and then he can leave Dick Tracy land.
Yeah, I like that idea that it's like they keep talking about a character called Furface, and then it's revealed that it's Catbert.
Yeah, Furface.
Yeah,
it's very Dick Tracy. Okay. So then Dennis and Dick go to the Ocean Kingdom.
Yeah.
Where now is Sherman a villain in this? Like Hagar, or is Sherman a nice shark in a land of mean sharks? These are the questions.
All our reboot really did was change his skin type, right? He's now rough instead of smooth.
Which is a big change for most sharks.
Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is I guess he's an outcast and he needs friends, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. It'd be funny if just nothing has changed about him. He's completely the same.
He's just regular, and they're like, "Oh, hey, it's Sherman. I guess you wanna come, or what are we doing?" And then they just leave. Maybe they kill Sherman for Crankshaft. Is that going to upset our Sherman diehard fans?
Or our Crankshaft diehard fans.
I think Crankshaft fans would love the idea of Sherman being dead.
There's a real rivalry.
Yeah, you can't be a fan of both.
Sharks in the Jets wait, no. Sharks in the Shafts? No.
Ooh.
There's something there. So they spend a very short amount of time in Sharkland. Because I mean, there's nothing exciting going on with Sherman. Who's our big final boss? Is it Sarge?
Oh, sure. We could do Sarge.
Who else do we have?
I mean, it could be like Snoopy.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to that big one.
We can talk Peanuts. Maybe
the Peanuts Kingdom.
Do we see Charlie Brown with hair?
That's what this has all been about.
That's my question.
Him getting the hair.
I mean, we're making this as a team here. This is an adventure we're all going on together.
Charlie Brown shattered the world and rebuilt it in his image to get hair.
Well, Dennis. Oh, but I thought Dennis shattered the world.
Maybe
Dennis failed to save the world.
Manipulated.
By Charlie.
Dennis took the blame, but it was actually Charlie Brown's fault, and that's why you have all the Dick Tracy villains where Charlie Brown was trying to create the world in his image, and he failed all those times.
This is very good. Charlie Brown is devious? No, so it was an accident. Charlie Brown's still a good boy, or is he?
Oh, he's a tyrant, I think.
Yeah, I think Charlie Brown's the worst boy.
So now it's you're a bad boy, Charlie Brown.
Yes, you're a bad man, Charlie Brown.
Then football's outlawed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No more football, unless or is it like a?
You can have sports be outlawed as like a little background thing through the entire series until you realize it's
yes. Nobody knows why. It's just sports are outlawed, and then we meet Charlie Brown. Maybe...
But to get to Charlie Brown, you have to fight all of Snoopy's different personas, like Joe Bull and the Red Bandit,
and the World War I flying ace. I love that. What if maybe he has to recruit Lucy to help take down Charlie Brown because she's got kind of an experience there.
Oh yeah, you meet Lucy in a bar and she's like, Charlie Brown, I haven't heard that name in years. That's her.
Yes, you have. He's our tyrannical overlord. Yeah, good point.
He's got his statue is right there.
Literally anyone ever talks about Lucy.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to forget.
And then she says the doctor is out, whatever.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's the line when she cocks the shotgun the doctor's wait, I'm the doctor. The doctor's in.
Yeah, I think she says the doctor's in when she cocks the shotgun.
Yeah.
The doctor has been out until the very end when she atones for her sins, which were pulling the football out, I guess. That was her sin?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and we got to work Nichols in there somehow.
Why? Oh, she works for Nichols?
Because it was the psychiatry help 5 cents, right? So it was Charlie Brown had to give her the nickel.
Man, she really knew what she was doing.
There's a nickel and a necklace around Charlie Brown's neck, and she rips it off.
Whoa, I don't remember that.
You're really focusing on the nickels here, Frank.
I don't know why. It's just really in my craw.
This is a common thread on our reboot where Frank just gets real into the currency of every world, and I feel like it slows us down.
I still think the Shallow How Royale is a really important piece of the economy.
Here's the big question: does Dennis succeed in fixing the world?
Well, by this point, I think the comic that we're doing has been running for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have to decide that yet. We've got so much material.
We have so much material.
It's going to be very decompressed.
We still have Hagar in the wings.
It's going to be running at the rate that Mark Trail does.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe that's it. They meet God and it's Mark Trail.
Ooh.
We're going to be Prince Valianting for 70 years.
Yes.
That guy's
another famously slow-paced comic.
Yeah, okay. I like all of this. Are there any last-minute ads anyone wants to make? Anything that we missed? Anything that you're dying to get in there? Are there any comics that you guys want to kind of self-insert? I know you both have some material that we could shove in there.
Well, I mean, I think they definitely need to run into, intelligent cows and giant fly people every now and again, just as a race populating the world.
Right.
The Far Side characters is what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
People with a single straight line for their eyes.
Yeah, the cavemen.
Awesome. So a thing that we've started doing since the last time you guys were on is we recommend a good a food pairing for our listeners to consume while they also consume our reboots, and then also a Mountain Dew pairing. So does one of you want to take the food and one of you want to take the Mountain Dew that you would recommend? One is harder than the other.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna need a little more information on what is a Mountain Dew pairing.
You just say what Mountain Dew goes best with.
So like red, blue, the normal Baja Blast.
Like if you're watching Shallow Hal, you're gonna want to drink Baja Blast.
Oh yeah, big time.
Okay.
So while you're reading these new comic strips, what food you want to eat and what Mountain Dew
you want to
specific?
drink? Yeah.
I'll do the Mountain Dew one.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Mountain Dew Baja Blast pairs very well with pouring it directly into a toilet and not drinking it.
So it's kind of you read the comic and have kind of the oral experience of the waterfall.
Yeah, I think it's a nice sound, and it's like a reminder that you're not drinking Baja Blast.
I'm glad you said that because it seems to, with the people I've spoken to, that's a very unpopular opinion that I've held.
People like Baja Blast?
Yeah, right? That was my reaction.
The last time I drank Baja Blast, I remember drinking it and immediately thinking like I have to run to a hospital. This is disgusting.
I regret this choice. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna buy a Baja Blast just to dump it while you read, and then Chris, what are they eating?
Gotta give them the money, yeah.
Yeah, gotta give them the money. They're struggling.
And as far as a food for this, you know what? I think you go with your favorite breakfast cereal with milk, as that is how I enjoyed the funny pages every day growing up. Have it with breakfast.
What was your cereal of choice?
I really loved the Rice Krispie Treats cereal. That one's pretty tasty.
Wait, they had a cereal, not Rice Krispies? Rice Krispie Treats had a cereal?
Yeah, it had the Rice Krispies in like marshmallowed up clusters.
What?
Very tasty.
How did I not know this?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Well, eat it with the rebooted comic strips.
Bam. Well, yeah, thanks, guys, so much for coming on. So you've got your graphic novel coming out, Dracula Gate, on Kickstarter?
Yeah, we've got our Kickstarter going at the time of this recording. We are oh so close to hitting 25% of our budget, which is $40,000. Guys, it's so expensive to make a comic book.
Let's get it there. Let's get it there.
Yeah, we're just shy of 8,000. So I'm hoping we hit 10,000 within a couple days, and then all of it, even like not far either. So you can find it at draculagate.com. I did buy that URL, and it points to the Kickstarter.
Awesome. And then people can just find you on your personal stuff on Swan Boy, and where else can we find you, I guess, is the real question.
Yeah, you can find me at swanboy.com, at branson-reese.com. You can find me on Twitter at Branson Reese, Instagram at Brant Son of God. That Branson Reese was taken on Instagram, and I don't know who, so I don't have it. But that's otherwise where you can find me.
Yeah, and I'm on Twitter as well at Dr. Hastings. I've got you can still read my old webcomic, Dr. McNinja, at drmcninja.com, and I've also got drhastings.horse, drhastings.biz.
Just all the dots.
Yeah, well, I just wanted .horse and .biz because they're funny.
They are very funny. Yeah, if you haven't read Dr. McNinja or Swan Boy, I highly recommend both of them.
Mm-hmm. Big thumbs up.
They are hilarious.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both so much for being on. We loved having you back. You are our first repeat guests, which is very exciting.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, thanks.
In the double episode. So, listeners, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming on this journey with us. If you like the show, please give us a good rating and review on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends about it. You can tell them that we have two big real life comics mans on the show sometimes, and maybe that'll get them to listen. And Branson even writes cartoons on TV shows, so that's how you can get your friends in here. Until next time, I'm Scott Owen.
I'm Frank Serra.
And fellas, you may recall that we usually provide our listeners with a password so they can get in next time. Would you please give us our password?
Yes, the password is
voluntary cuckold. Goodbye.
voluntary cuckold.